I remember it started with me always stealing my parents' coffee when I was a kid, and just a taste of it was enough, until I wanted something more. They let me drink those really small refrigerated frappuccinos and eat coffee-flavored ice cream, but it wasn't enough. When I was only 13 years old, I tried my first caramel macchiato. Finally, when I got my license at the age of 16 and a half, there was no stopping me. I could go to any joint I wanted. I went to coffee shops. The rest is history. There's nothing quite like it. It might sound funny to talk about this like it's truly an addiction, but we all know that there's nothing like that true good old cup of joe in the morning. Sometimes you want to get a little adventurous, but it can be a little stressful. When I was 17 and I got my first job as a barista, I learned everything there is to know about coffee. I think I know enough that I can relieve some of that stress when you're at the counter and they're like, hey, what do you want? And you're like, I want to try something new, but there's so many options and maybe I don't even know what I'm doing and who knows if it will taste bad, so vanilla latte? Let me break it down for you in 3 basic sections. So let's get into it. Iced versus hot. What can even be iced? Basically, anything. I know that sounds like a simple and not helpful answer, but what's typically hot and what's typically cold is what's typically hot and what's typically cold. There are some pro tips for what to get hot. Number 1, if you ever have a spiced kind of flavor or a spiced kind of drink, that's usually good warm or hot, like in a latte or cappuccino or macchiato. Which leads us to the next part. What do all those fancy words mean? Well, essentially, just different ratios. A cappuccino, as demonstrated, has more foam than milk, giving it a stronger flavor. However, it's usually the same amount of shots. Latte is pretty standard. It's the one that has the most milk, usually has the best flavor, and is just enough for you to get adventurous, but not too exciting. A macchiato is the same thing as a latte, just upside down. Espresso goes on top. You've probably heard people talk about espresso shots. That's what goes into a latte or macchiato. Some people just get those by themselves. I don't know how they do it. You can also get an Americano, which is kind of like a watered down shot. We just add water to it until it fills up the cup. You can do this iced or warm. Also make sure you ask for extra room for cream. My last couple of tips are to do with the flavors, which is basically that the fruit flavors are usually good iced and the spiced flavors are good warm. Milks consist of almond, coconut, soy, or regular milk is pretty satisfactory inside of a latte, but if you want to do something that's lactose-free, you can try an almond or soy. I hope you enjoyed this informative video on how to get over your coffee addiction. Wait, sorry, actually, this was more about how to feed the addiction. Sorry if I kinda gave you a new burden. Just make sure you budget it because it will seriously become a part of your everyday life if you get as addicted to it as I am now. Thanks for watching!